Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Hey everyone, checking in on the cryptocurrency sector. Before we get into the technical analysis aspect, I want to touch a little bit on my own observations of myself as a trader, psychology, and emotions in this new market environment. If you've been watching since 2017, you know that I have shifted with how I am trading this space, and that's because my goals have shifted. In 2017, I said, oh man, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I am going to trade away my life and hit this opportunity with every ounce of ability I have. And if you're going to trade to your best of your ability, that means you're going to put in as much time as you possibly can to capitalize on an event like that huge surge that we know is limited and it's not going to last forever. So after accomplishing a lot of those goals, now in this current market environment, I am no longer in that same space. And this is hard for me because I'm the kind of person where if I do something, I do it to the best of my ability. And that's why if I play recreational volleyball indoors, I end up looking like I get hit by a bus because I can't not dive on the hardwood floor. But that's just my personality type. So I know that if I'm not going to be putting in 10 to 12 hours a day trading cryptocurrency, I am not going to do as well as if I were. So I have to accept that I'm not going to be seeing the same kind of gains that I was back then in this current trading environment. So my style has shifted. I have my long-term anti-FOMO positions where if the bulls explode out of nowhere and I have no position in my trading account, that's just fine because I'm still profiting. But it's the kind of scenario where I'm noticing things, where I'm noticing a little bit more FOMO. Yesterday I saw FOMO, and it's important to distinguish that traders who have control of their emotions, like I like to think that I do, it doesn't mean we don't feel those emotions. We feel them less than newer traders, but they're still there. It's just the ability to recognize them and not act on them. So I saw Litecoin breaking out yesterday, and I saw, Bitcoin looking like healthy weekly consolidation. I said, oh man, I want back in positions. And I said, well, that's FOMO, and I recognize that, and I didn't make any trades. I didn't make any decisions based off of that mindset. But it's very interesting to shift, and it makes me appreciate the people who have full-time jobs or who have families and can only put a certain number of hours in, because again, you're not going to do as well as if you could put in 12 hours, and it's a bit of a catch-22 where you can't put in the time because you have these other things, but you want to put in the time so you can have more time for the other things. It's this big feedback loop. Anyways, it's all very interesting to observe, but for me personally, I'm in the mindset where if I hit a day maker, whether it's stocks or cryptocurrency, then I'm fine being done for the day. And that's happened a lot in the past week or two. There's been a ton of volatility in the stock market, and I put in a lot of effort into the stock market every day with the coverage and the market streams that we do and all that with the chart guys. So if I make my day maker, then I don't have motivation to trade the cryptocurrency space. And I've lost a lot of that motivation because the profit is no longer as significant an incentive as it was back in 2017. So that's just me thinking aloud, and honestly that helps me to say that and recognize it and hear myself speak. And that's why I say so much to get out of your head and write things down on paper, because when you're talking in your head or you're making game plans in your head, it's very easy to either forget it or have it be not be concrete. But when you're actually putting it out there into reality and making it concrete, whether it's through words or writing it down, I think that changes things. So I certainly suggest getting out of your head as much as possible and doing your own analysis. As I've said before, do your own technical analysis videos. Doesn't matter if you don't make them public. Talk it out loud, watch it back, and you will learn from that process. So Bitcoin, we're still just looking for a lower high on the daily. We did get that double bottom on the 4-hour time frame. Nice hold of support by the bulls, and that's a little bit of a different scenario. Usually we see the lower low, and I say usually meaning in the recent however many months, we see the lower low break there before the bounce gets going. Holding support and then rallying, not as common. So that tells us that the market environment is still bullish. I think I made a post in the chat room the other day that said, weekly consolidation right now still has the cryptocurrency reeking of confidence, because we are seeing dips bought. We saw the 4-hour oversold with some decent buying. But keep in mind, with this 4-hour trend change here on Bitcoin, still just looking for a daily lower high. And that's what my anti-FOMO was yesterday. I recognized I was feeling the FOMO, and I said, well, we're just anything under 88.34 is a lower high. So certainly not going to be missing the bus anytime soon as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Like I said, Litecoin was standing out. We'll look at that in just a moment. But it's possible that we see continuation on this daily pullback of lower highs and lower lows, which is going to keep me patient. So if we were to see the bulls make their way the closer we get to 88.33 and the more space we create for a daily higher low to form holding 74.32, the better the odds that our weekly higher low has been set. This is a bull flag at this point. I would say we have to lose 7,000 support for it no longer to fit a bull flag criteria. And the burden of proof is on the bears. The bears have to prove to us that this is not a bull flag, and they have to do so by dropping to lower lows and seeing some follow through in their own downtrend. So right now, bears are waiting for a daily lower high to be set compared to 88.33, and looking at perhaps the hourly time frame, we have a base of support that's coming down to be tested on some bear volume right now, 78.80. We can see a bit of an equilibrium here, and if we condense it to the 2-hour chart, it's probably going to stand out as a little bit more clear. Just with this high, low, lower high, almost a double bottom, another lower high, and here we are heading down to support. So there is an equilibrium in play for today. If that equilibrium breaks, the odds that our daily lower high has been set will increase, and if that breaks bullish, then the odds that our daily lower high has been set will decrease, and we'll say that we have not likely set that lower high just yet. So keeping an eye on ETH and LTC and how their pairings are trading relative to Bitcoin. Ethereum a bit weaker, but very similar. This is not a strong bounce. This does look like the potential of a bear flag, which is why we're holding off for the potential of another leg down, at least why I am holding off. The 4-hour time frame right now, 246.18 is a support level, and if that breaks, we're going to be looking down at 244.84. But again, just not very impressive with the trend change. The 4-hour trend change with a lack of follow through at this point means be cautious of the daily bear flag, and that's the case right now. And if we look at the ETH BTC chart, this is going to be important as well because we have a daily equilibrium to be watching here. We have the high and the low on the same candlestick, our low, or I should say a lower high, higher low, double top, and now the bulls are trying for a higher low compared to 03. And I expect this pattern to break sometime late next week or next weekend. We could trade in this pattern for another 5 to 7 days. We're looking for a higher low to be found. We're not confident it's been found just yet. And then once it is, we're going to be watching that double top again. But still could easily stay within this pattern for a few days, or I should say another week, more than a few days. And how this pattern breaks is going to dictate whether we're going to be looking bullish on ETH or bullish on BTC. And the timing is lining up where this pattern breaking could potentially dictate on a weekly higher low who we're going to be looking at a Bitcoin or Ethereum as far as strength goes. So that's going to be important for us, distinguishing between those two. Looking at Litecoin, very clear lead bull. And Litecoin got all the way up to less than 1% away from daily continuation. And that is a very distinct difference from these other names. If you look at how much follow through was needed on Ethereum from the high of this bounce to see continuation, we needed 14%. And Ethereum, or I should say Bitcoin, was pretty much the same thing. High of the bull move to continuation, 12%. So for Litecoin to get back to less than 1% away, it's very notable. We have the halving event that is in the back of everybody's minds, and that's the potential reason for this extra strength. And we're watching the LTC BTC pairing as well. But the most distinct difference here, we certainly have the double top. The most distinct difference is what would it take for the bears to drop below our current low of 97.05? And we would have to see a pullback at this point of 16+%. So that tells us the bulls are extremely comfortable looking to form a daily higher low, even if we reject, even if Bitcoin and Ethereum confirm their daily bear flags and drop to lower lows. Litecoin is probably setting its, unless, I would say Litecoin has set its weekly higher low unless we see Bitcoin drop down to the mid to lower 6,000s, which would be a very big pullback from where we stand right now. Because again, we have so much space where we can form a higher low now on this daily chart. So Litecoin certainly taking the lead. Look at Litecoin BTC here. Daily time frame, back testing. Look at the exponential resistance, then exponential support. Very healthy consolidation, breakout for another leg up. What's this look like on the weekly chart? Still just looking for a weekly lower high compared to 1892. There's a long way to go before we get up to that level. And we are going to watch for this Litecoin weekly equilibrium to play out probably into August or beyond. So we're just waiting patiently for a lower high to be set. There's plenty of room where Litecoin bulls could stay in the lead comparative to Bitcoin, but I certainly would not expect to break 1892 on one move off of the low here. So this is going to be a pattern to be watching for Q3, essentially, 2019 in the fall. And also watching the monthly longer term, because with the halvening coming up, we have a high, low, lower high, higher low. And if we set a monthly lower high, as I anticipate we will, to stay within that weekly equilibrium, then breaking this long-term monthly pattern is going to dictate whether we get a Litecoin explosion on the halvening coming into effect, or whether it's a dud, in my opinion. Because if this pattern were to break bearish, it would probably be a dud. If it breaks bullish, that's when things get real exciting for Litecoin. So I'm anticipating watching these tightening ranges on the weekly time frame, keeping in mind the monthly time frame as well, and looking for the fall to give us some nice insight. But short-term Litecoin lead bull, no doubt about it. XRP, we had a little bit of some hype on some news and no real confirmation of that news. As far as I understand it, again, I haven't put a ton of time in the fundamentals recently on XRP, but I have been told that it was just a rumor at this point. And the price action sort of showing that as well, with the big bull move up, but not really a lot of follow through, giving some of that back. So where we stand on the daily time frame is very similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, but the bulls do have a bit more space to work with because they did get an extra little leg up on that rumor. It is still just a daily lower high. The question is, can the bulls hold 382 and establish a daily higher low? Litecoin is very likely to establish a daily higher low. Bitcoin and Ethereum not so much, but certainly possible. And XRP is in the middle of the road. I'd say it's number 2 as far as daily strength the last few days, behind Litecoin. BNB, same thing. So solid bounce. It's just a lower high on the daily compared to 34.35. Can we form a daily higher low compared to 28.71? And if we can, then the bulls are going to work on this weekly bull flag. Certainly a bull flag at this point. Again, burden of proof on the bears. Bears have to knock the price down under 28 with convincing volume to not be a weekly bull flag at this point. So, for the whole space, burden of proof is on the bears. Look at the weekly chart for Litecoin. Very brief consolidation, certainly a bull flag, and trying for continuation in the next week or two. And even Ethereum, looking at the weekly consolidation, still very healthy at this point. No red flags. So, confidence in the cryptocurrency space still certainly there. We have to see a big bear volume spike and a clear drop to daily lower lows to change that. And until that happens, there's going to be a lot of bulls buying the dips. And even if that happens, there's going to be a lot of bulls to buy the dip. So certainly confident in the space at this point, and we'll see if we get another leg up sometime in the month of June. We'll check back in, probably do an altcoin video tomorrow, taking votes from members now, and I'll see you all then. Remember to do good things out there. We'll end it here with a beach in South Carolina. Have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you.